Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. We photographers owe a lot to the Kodak photography company or photographic company that produced both cameras and film, and still producing film. I don't know, they might be producing a few plastic Kodak cameras, point and shoot type film cameras, 35mm cameras at the moment, I'm not sure. However, and there's lots of them on the second-hand market. You can still get lots of Kodak cameras, and the Retina was some of the first ones that they started off. Well, actually before the Retinas they had all the folding Kodak cameras, which I've also talked about recently on here, but this is the Retina way, the Retina cameras, which an example of one of those is this one here, which I first learnt photography on when I first went up to Darwin in the Northern Territory. This is my dad's camera. I've talked about this camera before on this channel. And that's a beautiful little bellows type camera, and a lovely camera. But I won't dwell on that one at the moment. The one I want to talk about today is a nice little camera. I was go for walks around the block every now and then. Haven't been doing much walking lately though with my crook knee. But anyway, I was going round the corner, probably a 5 minutes walk from here one day, and they had a garage sale on. And whenever there's a garage sale and I happen to be walking past, I always go in and have a look and see if they've got any cameras in there. Well, they didn't have any, and so, but I said, "Oh, you haven't got any cameras here?" And this lady in the house said, "Oh, there is one of my dad's in the house there somewhere. I'll go and see if I can find it." So anyway, she went and brought this camera out, and it was this one here. It's in a beautiful leather case, Retinette, it says on the top there, and the case was actually made in New South Wales for these cameras. But this is I'll just take the cover off so you can see a beautiful little camera, case I mean, and camera. And I said, "How much do you want for that?" So, "Oh, I don't know." And I said, "What about $40? And she said, "Yeah, that's okay." And her young son, who was about 7, he said, "You should have asked 50, Mum." And I probably would have paid 52. But anyway, they gave it to me for 40. So there you go, $40. So I'll just take this off. It's a beautiful little camera, nice metal construction. This is in pretty much mint condition, although I did discover when I was playing with it a minute ago that this self-timer down here, you pull that back and then you press the shutter, and then it's supposed to then wind back over there, but it's not, it needs some tensioning, it's not doing it properly. Actually, I just need to just trick that there, and see, that's the noise it would normally make, the little self-timer, and I just click the shutter. So anyway, that's the only problem with this camera. This one is the type 035 late Pronto, and this was produced, I'm reading off the internet here, from October 59 to February 1961. And the lens is a Schneider Kreuznach Reomar f3.5 50mm lens. And the shutter is a Kodak Angel OBK2 for all you technical people. Goodness knows. Anyway, this is a nice little camera, and there's no batteries in them. It's manual focusing, zone focusing, and what else can I say about it? It's pretty good. It takes colour in black and white, of course. Beautiful lens. I haven't really put a film through this yet. I've got 2 of these, and I'm not sure which one is the best one, but this is the one that I could lay my hands on. So I'm just going to go over a couple of little features of it, and show you how to, I'm going to put a film in it, because I'm going to go out and test this camera with a film in it. So let's just see if we can have a look up here. Don't know whether you can see that on there, but this front ring here is the focusing one, and you've got to guess the distance. So up on here there's a range of distances that you can guess, and it starts off at back here, must be around about you can see this on the scale back here, maybe just below that little black triangle there. You can see a distance scale along there, and you might be able to see the different distances. 4.5 feet, these are all in feet. 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet I think it is, 8 feet, 10 feet. 10 feet is in red, that's just a good indicator marker. 15 feet, on 15 feet, 20 feet's in red, 35 feet, 70 feet, and then infinity. So the idea is you have a look at the distance that this is all in feet, not meters. So you have a look at the distance that you're thinking about, and then you decide what aperture do I need to get everything in focus. And you've got a scale here. A lot of these old cameras have these scales here. And you can see, once again, if you look at this black triangle up here again, you can see that the f-stop's going out on either side of that. So it starts at f3.5, it goes around to f22, and same this end. So if I set this camera at 10 feet, and I want to set my shutter speed, my aperture to f8, it means that everything between 7 feet there, I don't know whether you can see that, 7 feet there, and over there on f8, where are we? Now everywhere between 7 feet at f8 and 20 feet over here, I don't know whether you can see that, 7 feet and 20 feet, if you've got the aperture set at f8, all the distances in between those two readings are going to be in focus. So it's called a zone focusing is what you do. Now up here, of course, you can then take a meter reading and decide what meter with a separate handheld light meter, and you can decide, you can shift your aperture by using this lever up here. I don't know whether you can see that, you might be able to. Move that up there, so we go all the way from f3.5, f8, 11, 16, 22, and then your shutter speed is this outer knob here, and you can move it around. So we go from 250th of a second, 125th of a second, a 60th of a second, a 30th of a second, and B, which is open. That's a timer thing where you count the seconds. It's an open shutter for time exposures. So basically you've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 shutter speeds, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 f-stops, and it's a very sharp lens, so I believe, this lens, and I can't wait to try it out. It's basically how the camera operates. You've got a wind on lever down here on the bottom. Wind that on. You hear the shutter. Very quiet leaf shutter. You can plug a flash in there, so you can have a separate electronic flash plugged in there. And because it's a leaf shutter, you have flash sync at all speeds. So we just wind that on there, and we take a click there. Do it again. And then what's been happening while I've been doing that is that this counter up here, the counter up there has been going around and clicking around. So when you first put the film in, you can wind this by hand as well. And you've got to put it back to, I'm going to go right the way round. You can see what I'm doing there. Until you come to the end of it. The end and the beginning, so you get round to see that little arrow there. I don't know whether you can see that or not. Little arrow just there, and then when you put the film in and wind it on a couple of times, it'll wind your way through the number one shot, and then it'll keep going through until you get to 36 shots if you've got a 36 film in it. So there you go. Now to open the camera and put your film in, there's a little button down there, right on the edge of that metal frame there. This is all metal, beautiful feel and finish to this. This feels like it's in mint condition. And so you just got to press that. I'll try if we can press it. There you go, I press that and it opens up. And there is your inside of your camera. So we're now going to get a film Just might stop this for a second. So hopefully you'll be able to see this now. So there's the open back of the camera, and I'm just going to get this film. This is a Kodak Gold 36 exposure 200 ISO, and this expires on sometime. Just take this off. Expires on the 1st of in January 2026. That expires. So we'll just take this out. Sorry, I've got the camera tilted so I can't really see what I'm doing too much here. I'll take that out there. So there we have the film. Getting old, I can't get these lids off. There you go. Take out our film. We come over here. You should be able to slot that in there. Oops. Sorry, you've got to pull that lever up a bit so you can get the wedge the film in there, and then you push that down again. That's the rewind, so that goes in snug in there. So you've now got the film in there. So you pull this across, and there are some slots in here in the spool, the take-up spool. So you push it in there. See if we can get it in there. And we just give a little bit of a tension like that. And what I like to do is just tension this back a bit so it can grab, the sprocket holes can grab here on that. We shut that up. And then with this on the bottom here, this lever on the bottom, we just wind that. And you should be able to see this moving as we do that. We take one shot. Doesn't look like it's moving, does it? And we're just on number 36. So this winds backwards from number 36, and it ends up with 0 at the end of it when you've used up all the shots. So it's a backward counting film. So there we are. That's cocked and ready to go. Now you've got a little thing here where you can say whether you're putting colour or black and white in here. So I'm not sure. I think I won't bother with that. There's a little scale that you can shift that there, but I'm going to put a little label on the back of this camera. I'm going to stick this label on the back of this camera so I know what film I've got in it. So yeah, there you go. It's all ready to go now. So it's all ready to take a shot now. So you've got this nice little viewfinder looking through there, and you've got a parallax lines, a rectangular line with two little notches to show the error of parallax if you're in too close. So I can't wait to actually give this, I mean, I've had this camera for ages, but I haven't really used it. So it's got the film in it. And I'll just put no, I won't do that. I'll just stop for a second and then I'll show you what I've done afterwards. Okay, so what I've done, I've just cut off the back of that box there. And I've used this two-sided tape. I think I've shown this on another video. Use this two-sided tape and just stuck that on the back of the camera there. So it shows me that I've got Kodak Gold color negative film, 36 exposures, 200, and I've written the expiry date on there, January 26. So now whenever I am using this, I can just look at that and I know what ISO to set my light meter at or whatever. So I can get a correct exposure. So there you go, it's all ready to go. I'll just put this back on here and show you what it looks like with the case on. It's got a tripod socket. Got a tripod socket down there, of course, if you want to put this camera on a tripod. This little notch here, I think, is for when you want to, whoops, thrown that off. When you want to lay it flat down on the ground, that keeps the camera from tipping over, so you can take a tabletop tripod type shot without a tripod. So we just put this back in here. There we go. It fits in there quite snugly. It's a beautiful case. This case is in mint condition, really. Do it on, and swivels around like that, so you can sort of walk around with it around your neck like so. There you go. You can take this off if you want to. So if you're out doing a camera walk, you can just will that come off? I don't know that it does. No, that doesn't pop off there. So you'd have to leave that on there, but that's just for protection of your camera anyway. So there you go, that's the Kodak Retinette 1A Pronto model, and I'm going to go out and over the next whenever take some shots of it and with it, and I'll probably take some shots on my phone at the same time so I can compare. I might just put this up now, this little video now, so you've had a look at it, and then later on when I've got some photos to show you from what I did with it, I'll put them up on the YouTube channel as a follow-up review to this shot here. If you in the meantime want to have a look and see on Flickr and places like that samples of photos taken with one of these cameras, go to Flickr or the Lomography people, or 35MC I think it's called, and they'll have samples and people writing about these cameras, and you might want to get one. They're very cheap. You can get them just about anywhere for a very, very good price. There's a few of them on the internet, on eBay and places like that, and enjoy. So thanks for watching. Like if you like, subscribe if you wish, and I'll see you next time. The next video may not be the results of this, but I've got a couple of cameras that I'm trying to shoot and do some follow-up with the actual samples. So we'll catch you next time. See you later.